The entry of our graduates will begin momentarily. Good afternoon. Welcome to UCLA and our celebration of the College of Letters and Science class of 2022. Graduates, family, and friends, we present the official party. So, Jack, this would be the faculty procession. I'm not hearing any music.
Will the official party please be seated? It's my honor to welcome you to UCLA's Commencement Weekend. My name is Barbara Herman. I am the Griffin Professor of Philosophy and a professor in the UCLA School of Law. And it's my pleasure to serve as the College Marshal for this ceremony. Before we begin, the College of Letters and Science at UCLA acknowledges our presence on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Gabrielino Tongva peoples. This ceremony is our first college commencement in person. In person after 2 long years. Today, the world is a different place than when we were last able to gather this way to honor our graduating class. We bring to this event our experience of a global pandemic, our commitment to address racial injustice and social inequality, our embrace of diversity, and our hope for the years ahead to be filled with the many accomplishments and contributions of you, our graduates. I wish I could say that we are graduating you into a world that is better today than it was when you started your college education. I wish I could say that. Instead, we are giving you that task to employ your knowledge, your skill, and your passion to make it a better, to employ your knowledge, your skill, and your passion to the work and world that confronts you, to make it a better place for the generations to follow. Like many of your teachers at UCLA, professors, lecturers, TAs, I am hopeful that we've gone some way in preparing you for this task. It was our joy and its own reward to work with you. To everyone in attendance today, I want to offer my congratulations. I know how proud you are as the family members and friends of our graduates. You have enriched their lives with your love and support throughout their studies, whether their classes were held on campus here in Westwood or in each of your homes, courtesy of the only sometimes reliable internet. Together, our entire community at UCLA shares your pride and thanks you. Maybe a round of applause for your family and friends. Singing the national anthem this afternoon is Nikki Najadrazul. She is graduating today with a degree in psychology. Could everyone please rise for the national anthem?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. Then the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, Nikki. Now, I'm pleased to introduce the Senior Dean of the College and Dean of Humanities, David Skaberg.
Hello, UCLA graduates. On behalf of the deans, the faculty, and the honored guests who join me on this stage, I welcome you and your family to the commencement ceremony for the College of Letters and Science. I'd also like to thank my colleague, Professor Barbara Herman, our college marshal, for greeting our guests this afternoon. Graduates, this is a day to acknowledge your achievements and to celebrate the culmination of your undergraduate studies. You've met the highest challenges of education. You've been partners with faculty in our quest to learn and to discover, and you'll be the next generation of leaders in the fields you pursue. Class of 2022, your academic journey has led you here to this historic moment in time, a moment that will not come again. Together, we look forward to a bright future. Joining us here today are many special people who stood by you through your years at UCLA, your families, and your friends. I'd like to ask the parents, the partners, the friends, and the family members of our graduates to stand. And graduates, please join me in acknowledging your guests. Thank you, thank you. Now I'm pleased to welcome the Chancellor of UCLA. In his 14 years as chief executive of the campus, he's worked to strengthen the university's academic excellence, to build our campus diversity, and to inspire a new level of civic engagement within the UCLA family. Please welcome the Chancellor of UCLA, Jean Block.
Graduates, families, friends, and guests, and regents of the University of California with us today, and our distinguished speaker. Welcome to UCLA, one of the nation's top public universities. Now, I have to tell you something. For the earlier commencement ceremony, I said the #1 public university. But I have to be sensitive that I have 2 regents here visiting us today. We're very honored. We have Regent Riley, who was a UCLA student, no problem there. We also have Regent John Perez, who attended Berkeley, so I have to be a little careful. Another great university, So, as UCLA's Chancellor, it's my great honor to join you for this celebration. And I've been looking forward to this for a very long time. For today, we pay tribute to the incredible, the inimitable, and the unshakable class of 2022. So, congratulations. And graduates, this is your day. It's a day to reflect on your monumental achievements, especially in light of all that you've faced and all that you've had to overcome. It's also a day to look ahead in the many ways in which you will surely shape the future. But while you are the stars of the show, this is your day, and we're here to celebrate you. As was mentioned, many people have helped you along the way. So let's give another round of applause to the parents and guardians, grandparents, great-grandparents, brothers, sisters, children, mentors, friends, and everyone else. It really takes a village. They've gave you unflagging love and support. So thanks to everyone. So after 2 years, as you know, of virtual and hybrid commencement events, we've done the best we could, but have been a challenge, obviously, it's now a joy to be back in Pauley Pavilion for today's ceremony. A tradition like this one, bonds you to generations of UCLA students who came before. And today's ceremony is a ritual, an important ritual, not unlike the rituals of taking friends late night and discussions in the Hill, or doing the 8 clap alongside cheering fans at Bruin games, or stopping by the sculpture garden on a warm spring evening. These are all special events, which I know you remember. But commencement is a point of connection you share with UCLA graduates of years past, and one you will share with future generations as well. So the ceremony, the events today do connect you. Though you have much in common with Bruins and other eras, however, every graduating class experience at UCLA is unique. It is colored by what took place on campus and the broader world while you were a student here. And what you experienced in your college years was truly distinctive. During your time at UCLA, as was mentioned, you saw the world in the grip of a crisis as the COVID-19 pandemic took hold, bringing with it pain and fear and upheaval. Many of you felt the whiplash of moving back in with your parents, nothing wrong with the parents, but a change, turning kitchen tables into classrooms, which we saw on Zoom, and taking up new roles as caregivers, grappling with feelings of isolation, and adapting to other transformations in your lives. These past years were singular in other ways as well. You experienced and likely voted in the most polarizing presidential election this nation has ever seen. You saw a shocking and brazen siege of the U.S. Capitol buildings during the first week of 2021. You felt the effects of climate disasters like wildfires and excessive heat here in California, severe flooding in Europe and South Asia, and brush fires in Australia. You experienced the troubling invasion of Ukraine this spring, and far too many times you witnessed the deep pain of racial injustices and horrific mass shootings throughout this country. These experiences have challenged you, and they have shaped you. They have helped you develop a tremendous ability to adapt to tectonic shifts in your life. They gave you a greater respect for science and truth, and a stronger recognition of the dangers of misinformation. They reinforced the need to fight for this planet's future, and even as they stirred up anguish, they etched on you compassion and empathy, as well as a commitment to seeking justice and contributing to the greater good. Members of the class of 2022, today's world may look like a harrowing one, and indeed it's challenging. But crises are also moments of immense possibility when the traditional order can be shifted and new thinking can be applied to old problems. Shaped by your experiences and your sense of what is right and good, and with your UCLA degree in tow, you are incredibly well positioned to enact change. You will be the ones who sculpt a more beautiful and a more just future for the planet. As you prepare to leave UCLA, I hope you'll take with you the ties that bind you to this institution and its community. You are the newest members of the UCLA Alumni Association, and through the network, you will find like-minded peers, free classes to continue your education, and all kinds of resources to help you throughout your lives, and it will keep you connected to UCLA in really important ways. I also encourage you to reflect on the powerful forces that have shaped you these last few years. Consider what they mean to who you've become and where you will go from here. So graduates, let me once again offer you my deepest gratitude and my most sincere wishes. I hope the education you've received here will serve you well, and that you will use it not just to benefit yourselves, but to benefit all society. Congratulations to the class of 2022. I wish you all the success and best luck in the world. And for the last time, I can say, go Bruins. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor Block. My name is Adriana Galvan, Dean of Undergraduate Education. My fellow deans and I are honored to acknowledge the students who graduate today with very special academic achievements. I would like to recognize the students who are graduating with one of the highest academic honors the College of Letters and Science can give to an undergraduate, the designation of College Honors. The extraordinary students who are graduating with college honors have completed outstanding work in their major and also a special set of rigorous courses. Of the thousands of students who are graduating from UCLA this year, over 550 are receiving college honors. Will the students who are graduating today with college honors please stand? Thank you. Please be seated. Dean Johnson will recognize your service in the community.
Graduates, my name is Tracy Johnson, Dean of Life Sciences. It is my honor to recognize our many students who are involved in projects in the community. They accomplish this work through campus programs that bring together civic involvement with their academic courses. Would all of the graduating seniors who've served in the community please stand? Thank you. Thank you. Please be seated. Now, Dean Hunt will recognize the Chancellor's Service Award recipients.
Graduates, I am Darnell Hunt, Dean of Social Sciences. I am privileged, thank you, I am privileged to acknowledge the recipients of the 2022 Chancellor Service Award. The Chancellor Service Award is presented to students whose college careers have been distinguished by dedication to UCLA and the community. These students, 166 of them this year, have earned this distinction through a sustained record of outstanding leadership and service. Will the students who have been honored as recipients of the Chancellor Service Award please stand so we can recognize your superb commitment? Thank you. Please be seated. Dean Schaberg will recognize those who have earned Latin honors.
Hello, graduates. I'd like to present our students who are receiving Latin honors, which is recognition for high academic achievement. There are 3 levels of Latin honors. First, I'd like to acknowledge our students who've received cum laude honors. Please stand and be recognized. Thank you. Please be seated. Next, I'd like to honor our students who are graduating magna cum laude. Please stand and be recognized for your accomplishments. Thank you. Please be seated. Finally, please join me in honoring the students who are graduating with the highest Latin honors, summa cum laude. Thank you. Please be seated. Dean Garcia Garibay will recognize your effort in research.
Hello, graduates. I am Miguel Garcia Garibay, Dean of the Division of Physical Sciences. I would like to recognize students who have participated in research while at UCLA. As you know, UCLA is one of the world's great research universities. More than half of our students enhance their academic careers by working alongside faculty on projects, or writing an honors thesis, or participating in research classes. These students perform original work and advance the frontiers of knowledge. Would all the graduating seniors who participated in research please stand so we can recognize your achievements? Congratulations, and please be seated.
Thank you, Dean Garcia Garibay. Graduates, you have excelled in everything you've put your mind to, from research to community service, from academic success to personal enrichment. You've spent your years at UCLA becoming well-rounded and ready to begin a new chapter. Your student speaker for this afternoon embodies many of your own successes. Danny Elias grew up in Bakersfield, California, as the son of Syrian immigrants. He graduates today cum laude with a Bachelor of Science degree in Computational and Systems Biology and a minor in Entrepreneurship. During his studies at UCLA, Danny dedicated more than 400 hours to volunteering at the Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center, and he co-founded the Computational Biology Society at UCLA. While he applies to medical school, Danny is completing his research at the Jules Stein Eye Institute. Please welcome Danny.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my honor and privilege to welcome Chancellor Block, UCLA faculty, staff, honored guests, friends, and family to this momentous celebration of the graduating class of 2022. Your support means the world to us. It's from you that we draw our strength to reach new horizons. I come from a small major. It's even a mouthful to say, computational and systems biology. When I tell people what my major is, their first reaction is usually, "What's that?" While I won't go into the details of answering that here, I can tell you why I fell in love with my major. Math models of shark-tuna population dynamics. Y'all know. The sharks eat the tuna population goes down. Less tuna means less sharks. Less sharks mean the tuna population can go back up. And the cycle repeats itself with mathematical precision. It's these ups and downs and the equilibrium between it all that I fell in love with. It's because I see these high-low relationships all around me. Hearing my Syrian immigrant parents' stories of living under an oppressive authoritarian regime, I saw a low. They were able to counter this low by moving to the US and creating better opportunities for me and my sister than they could ever have. I think I speak for my fellow first and second generation Americans and all of my peers when I say it was a high being able to graduate from the #1 public university in the nation. The ups and downs are everywhere. Up Bruin Walk, down your head goes when you run into someone with a flyer. Up when we celebrated 100 years of UCLA prestige in 2019. Down when fires just a mile away forced the cancellation of classes. But we all know that the lowest low was yet to come. COVID-19 scattered our UCLA family across the country and the world. Morale was at an all-time low. Loved ones were lost. The entire core of UCLA's home in Westwood began to dissolve. But where there is a downtrend in the equilibrium of life, there must be a recovery. Where there was a force knocking us down, a stronger resilience followed. UCLA's core, though it may have temporarily left Westwood, found itself in homes all around the globe. UCLA was no longer just a place. It became an idea, a culture. UCLA meant leadership through the dark and perseverance through the challenges posed by the pandemic. UCLA meant creating inspiration from limitation and doing whatever we could to embolden our community over Zoom calls and email. We returned to campus, and our beloved Covell had become Epicuria. CCLE was phased out in favor of Brew and Learn. But most importantly, we all got our new second favorite app, the COVID-19 Symptom Monitoring Survey app. Yeah. I say second favorite because I think we all know that our favorite will forever be Duo Mobile. A lot changed, but a lot also stayed the same. If there's one thing I can always count on, it's the icky feeling me and my fellow Bruins get when someone brings up that red school from across town. Although returning to campus was undoubtedly a high in our academic journeys, I believe we began to rise long before that. Through our resilience during the height of the pandemic, we were able to draw an even stronger sense of who we are as Bruins. I think it's safe to say that never before in any other 4 years of UCLA history has a community of students brought as much meaning to UCLA as a concept than we have. We defined UCLA academics outside the confines of campus, spoke out against social injustices, and demanded our administration be proactive in implementing a more accessible UCLA education. There is no doubt in my mind that the graduates in this room are best equipped for the challenges they'll face individually and as a society when they walk out of Pauley today. My final note to my fellow graduates is this: find your lows. Find the inevitable downturns calling to you for help and perturb, rattle, challenge the system until you realize the highs you were meant to uncover. Congratulations, class of 2022, and thank you.
Thank you, Danny, for your really inspirational comments. And now it's my great pleasure to introduce our distinguished speaker, UCLA alumna, Katelyn Ohashi. Katelyn Ohashi took the world by storm with a joyful gymnastics floor routine that earned her a perfect score at the 2019 Collegiate Challenge and racked up 230 million views on YouTube. But Katelyn was a force to be reckoned with long before that, having been a standout gymnast in her early years and having won her first senior elite competition against Simone Biles at age 15. Crazy. Despite a back injury that doctors said would end her athletic career, Katelyn overcame physical struggles and personal doubts to earn a place on UCLA's top-ranked gymnastics team in 2015. She attended our university from 2015 to 2019, winning all manner of accolades and became an NCAA national champion, as well as earning her degree in gender studies. With her gymnastics success as a platform, Katelyn has used her voice, photography, and poetry to comment on societal issues, including body shaming, sexual assault, and cyberbullying. Far more than a talented and influential athlete, she's become widely recognized as an activist, writer, performer, and artist. Katelyn is a living, walking, and cartwheeling champion of the values that we strive to impart in our students, and we're grateful to have such a distinguished young alumna with us today. Please join me in welcoming Katelyn Ohashi.
Just when I thought I was done performing in Pauley. How crazy is it we get to stand in front of each other today? I graduated 3 years, which coincidentally was also the last in-person graduation. So let's give ourselves a round of applause for making it through a pandemic and a graduation. I want to thank Chancellor Jean Block, the staff that made this all happen, UCLA Athletics, my family, who actually gets to be in the audience right now, my friends that are in my corner because we all know it takes a village, and last but not least, Valerie Condos Field for taking a chance on me 7 years ago. I remember the day that I committed like it was yesterday, probably because I experienced my highest high and my lowest low in the span of a few hours. I visited Westwood and immediately fell in love with our school and committed right there and then to Miss Val and my team, crying and celebrating as I was overwhelmed by joy. Sometime later, when I got back to the dorms and settled in, I called the boy I was dating at the time to share the good news. To my shock and surprise, he brought me down to earth real quick with a flurry of negativity, disguised as advice to letting me know that I shouldn't leave for California so that we could develop our fairy tale high school ending love. Exactly. I almost changed my entire career for him. So I called Miss Val and I told her that I shouldn't have committed to UCLA and that I made the biggest mistake of my life. Turns out that calling her and telling her that might have been my biggest mistake. So I am happy I did, though, because she told me that it was okay to feel the way that I did, and that it's okay for us to be afraid and uncomfortable, because it's in those moments that we discover who we are and who we truly want to be. Ms. Val told me that UCLA is made for leaders, and that I should lead my life in the direction I want to go, taking into account my best interests, not anyone else's. So as I stepped onto campus for the first time, and the second time, and as a matter of fact, even today, I could feel that. So I want to congratulate each and every one of you on graduating and being here today, because you guys are all a part of that leadership. To say that we graduated from a place that pushes us to our limits and inspires us to be the best version of ourselves is an understatement, because we are the reason it is that way. The only regrets in life I have are the opportunities I've been too shy to take, whether it's to conform to society and blend in, that feeling of wanting to be liked rather than respected, being afraid of judgment, the thought of failure and not being able to please the people around me, or not having the voice to speak up. I remember calling Miss Val at 16 years old to ask her for a spot on the UCLA gymnastics team, not even knowing if I was going to be able to do gymnastics ever again due to my back injury. She was so curious why I wasn't pursuing the Olympics anymore, and then she asked me the last time I was ever happy doing gymnastics. I hadn't ever considered this question, but knew exactly when it was. I answered definitively. 11 years old before I ever went elite. I had spent 1/3 of my gymnastics career at that point unhappy in pursuing a career everyone had presented to me like it was their own. I was in an abusive environment where using your voice was far from welcomed, invalidated, and repercussed when we did. So, I learned to be fearful of using my voice. So, along with my voice and my thoughts diminished. I had never even bothered to stop and ask myself what I wanted out of my gymnastics career. So how do you fight for something when you don't even know what you're fighting for? How do you stand up for something when you don't even know where your beliefs fall? There are two definitions for acceptance. The first one that we typically gravitate towards is the action or process of being received as adequate or suitable, typically to be admitted into a group. And the second one is the action of consenting to receive or undertake something offered. The first definition relies on how others perceive us, whereas the second one is us taking ownership over our own worth. It's the fact that we have the power to accept what is handed to us. My freshman year was eye-opening to me in a lot of ways. It was evident that I had still quite a bit of healing to do for a sport that made me feel like I was never enough. During a team meeting, we went around the table calling out what our anchor was, that thing that was holding us back. And when it got to me, I answered, I never want to be great again. Everything I had associated with greatness caused me misery. Gymnastics is a sport that gains recognition every 4 years during the time of the Olympics, and if you don't come away with a gold medal around your neck, it seems like it was all for nothing. It's every little gymnast's dream. It used to be mine too, so when that dream quickly vanished before my eyes, I felt like a failure. I've learned in life that most things never go as planned. So while goal setting is good, I've learned that being able to adapt in the direction you want to head is even better. You have to learn to roll with the punches because life will punch you and knock you down. At times, it might even feel like it's winning. When I realized gymnastics wasn't my everything, I was able to accept greatness again for what it truly is. In 2019, we broke ticket sale records around at every school we attended. For the first time in gymnastics history, the Olympics was no longer the only thing on people's radar. And for the first time in my gymnastics history, it no longer mattered that I didn't have a gold medal around my neck. Because redefining my definition of success and what that looks like was my very own win. So sometimes success is getting out of bed in the morning. Sometimes your 100% is a 40%. But just know that success is like having the last punch in life. So no matter how you look, just know you can look and say, the other person looked worse. Most missed opportunities don't come from not taking them, but from not seeking them. Actually, during my time at UCLA, I worked on a project with Bruin Shelter, a student-run organization for other students that were experiencing housing insecurity. When they first began looking for housing, they knocked on 100 church doors, and they heard 100 no's. It wasn't until their 101st church door that they knocked on where they finally got their yes. So most of the time, life doesn't come knocking on your door. Instead, don't hesitate to knock on doors, and if you don't hear a yes the first time, it doesn't mean there won't be one. Now is the time to live life fully and try all the things you want. Life is all about the pursuit rather than the destination, and your life started yesterday, not today at graduation. So live life fully and unapologetically. I'd like to share a poem I wrote for all of you called Never Give Up. Maybe when I'm a teenager, I'll finally be grown. I'll make it known to everyone around I am no longer a kid. Maybe then I won't get looked down upon. The older kids won't think I'm lame, and as for myself, I'll understand the game. We really aren't that different. We're all one and the same. And then when I turned 13, I knew they didn't feel the same. I wanted to be seen, so I kept chasing this dream, and the further I got, the quicker it seemed I was now 16 and driving a car, but was only allowed to take it so far. Yet I still got in my first accident. And that wouldn't be my last. You'd think I would have learned something, but sometimes I find myself driving so fast. I'm always in a rush from one thing to the next, thinking that if I achieve that one thing, I'll finally feel whole. But every time I reach that goal, I still find it never truly feeds my soul. So I ask myself, how will I know when I'm grown? Will it be the chance to finally live my life as my own? Will it be a grown man's clone imprinted on the nape of my neck? Will it be when I finally receive my very first check? Will it look like this certificate printed on this very piece of paper, like you have finally made it? into the real world, where fairy tales seem few and far between. I still remember being that little girl who always chased her dreams. I look around now, confused and scared as hell. My life's in my hands, and what if it doesn't go well? Mac Miller said, "You can have the world in the palm of your hands, you still might drop it." And I reflect on my collegiate career, and what if I can't top it? What if I don't know how to transition to the next topic, and everything else feels like chasing fleeting moments, and I can't stop it? Like romanticizing that feeling of being an adult. As a kid, I once asked my mom, "Why is it taking so long?" And looking at it now, I'm right where I belong. I may have sped at different parts along the way, totaled my car going the wrong way, but now at red lights, I've learned to stop, taking it all in. Because even though they seem insignificant and sometimes a pain in the ass, there are parts in our journey that force us to pause and appreciate the little things that get us to where we're going. So when my GPS glitches and I feel like I've lost my way, I look around and know that everything's gonna be okay. So be patient with yourself as you go, for there are long drives ahead and untouched land to explore, where sometimes unanswered questions turn into even more. But just remember, it's not so much the destination, but the never-ending journey that we learn to adore. Never stop growing up. The last thing I want to leave you all with is my mom's life motto: make one thing more beautiful every day. I believe this can be as simple as stopping and having a conversation with someone and saying hi. It takes 30 seconds to impact someone's life. So no matter how easy it can become to judge someone's actions, there's always more than one side or even two sides to the matter. So be patient with people as you go, including yourself. And congratulations, class of 2022.
Thank you, Katelyn. Now it is my honor to present the candidates for the conferral of their degrees. I will call on the deans of the college to present the bachelor's candidates to Chancellor Block. Presenting the candidates for the bachelor's degree from the International Institute is the Vice Provost of International Studies and Global Engagement, Cindy Fan.
Thank you, Adriana. Graduates, this is the moment. Will the graduates for the Bachelor of Arts degree from the International Institute please rise and remain standing? Candidates for the Bachelor of Arts degree from the International Institute, you are graduating during an especially difficult period in our global history. We're extremely proud of you, not only because of your academic achievements, but also because of your resilience and resolve to overcome the unique challenges in these extraordinary times. The pandemic reminds us that never has it been more important to educate culturally competent global citizens in a world where we need to work together to find solutions for global problems. Connecting across borders, bridging nations and cultures, and having a deep understanding of peoples and places in the world are precisely the educational goals of the International Institute. Graduates of the International Institute, you are ready to be leaders because you have the skills to bridge the gaps between nations and cultures. You have the skills to promote global and local engagement toward finding solutions for issues such as climate change, systemic racism, political conflicts, social inequality and injustice, and global health crises. Your skills are needed in the world now more than ever. The multidisciplinary research and educational programs of the International Institute aim to cross boundaries and build a global understanding. The Bachelor of Arts program of the International Institute are designed to improve student understanding of the world and produce global citizens as the next generation of leaders. Some of our students focus on a particular geographic region of the world, as is the case for our majors in African and Middle Eastern Studies, Asian Studies, European Studies, and Latin American Studies. Other students explore global issues through thematic programs, as is the case for our majors in Global Studies, and are you ready? International Development Studies. Graduates of the International Institute, you leave UCLA with an educational background that will help you to recognize the value of new forms of civic engagement across the local and the global and the national and the international. You are empowered to shape and improve the world as the next generation of leaders in business, education, government, the nonprofit sector, in fact, in any endeavors that you're passionate about and in any parts of the world. Chancellor Block, I am honored and proud to present to you the globally aware, civic-minded, leadership-driven, interculturally astute candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts from the UCLA International Institute.
Thank you, Cindy. Candidates from the bachelor's degree from the International Institute, please be seated. Presenting the candidates for the bachelor's degrees in the Division of Physical Sciences is Dean Miguel Garcia Garibay.
Are you ready? Thank you, Adriana. Will the candidates for the degrees of Bachelors of Science and Bachelors of Arts in the Division of Physical Sciences please raise and remain standing? You have learned about the great challenges of our time, deep questions about the nature of our universe, about our origins, and above all, about our future in the world in which we live. For instance, climate change lies in the domain of our students of atmospheric and oceanic sciences, earth planetary and space sciences, and also the Institute of the Environment and Sustainability. The discovery of compounds that cure diseases and that lead to the sustainable generation of energy will be the world of our graduates in chemistry and biochemistry. The investigation into the structures and deep history of our universe, as well as the possibility of other life in the cosmos, will be pioneered by our physics and astronomy graduates. Our graduates in mathematics and statistics will pioneer the mastery of the flow of data that we must now process in order to understand and manage an even more complex world. All of this and more will be addressed by you. This is what I really love to get off script when we're having such a wonderful evening, afternoon. I think we need to show our friends, all of our families in Pauley, how noisy the physical sciences graduates can be. All right? So our graduates in atmospheric and oceanic sciences. Yeah. How about earth, planetary, and space sciences? Good, good. Statistics. Environmental science. Physics and astronomy. Mathematics. Chemistry and biochemistry. Physical sciences graduates. You all live here with a deep fund of knowledge in the science underlying what we know about our world. You also carry with you finally hone skills in reasoning and analysis that will equip you to overcome the most daunting intellectual challenges that will be thrown your way. You are the cream of the crop. You have mastered the hard sciences. Chancellor Block, it is my honor to present to you the dedicated, inquisitive, analytical, gifted, and altogether stellar candidates for the degrees of Bachelors of Science and Bachelors of Arts from the Division of Physical Sciences.
Thank you, Miguel. Candidates from the bachelor's degrees from the physical sciences, please be seated. Presenting the candidates for the bachelor's degree in the Division of Humanities is Dean David Skaberg.
Thank you, Adriana. Will the candidates for the Bachelor of Arts in the Division of Humanities please rise and remain standing and prepare to cheer yourselves and each other on? Yeah. All right. Listen, when I think of you, humanities graduates, I reflect that the greatest public research university in the land educates experts and seekers of knowledge of many kinds, and that among these, since UCLA's founding over a century ago, there have always been the experts in humankind, the young people who felt called to study the human legacy itself, the thought and the languages and the literatures and the arts that define our personal and social lives and our long cultural histories. Indeed, since their earliest beginnings over a millennium ago, universities have made a place for fundamental consideration of human value, human meaning, human improvement. And from this seed, the university grew and continues to grow, even as we human beings have faced ever renewed challenges and opportunities. Humanities graduates, what have you learned, and what will you take with you from UCLA to teach others? Well, you're graduates in philosophy and exacting caretakers of the truth. Now cheer, yes. You are linguists, scholars of language itself as a human faculty and a medium of communications. You are art historians, keen observers of the image and its uses. You're scholars of religion and of how humans' deepest beliefs about the world shape our lives. You are learners of difficult languages and sharp and independent-minded readers of the literatures of the world, literatures in English, in Asian languages and cultures, Near Eastern languages and cultures, comparative literature, classics, Spanish and Portuguese, Slavic, East European, and Eurasian languages and cultures, right? And European languages and transcultural studies. And many of you here have completed minors in digital humanities, in the study of religion, and in LGBTQ studies. I hope you've completed the coursework for your degrees with joy in learning and with a real drive to understand all that is human. But I know you're also aware of the very practical, very considerable powers that you've acquired. You are highly trained writers and speakers. You are readers and translators and interpreters of complex human situations, including situations of conflict. You are living encyclopedias of culture and spokespeople for the commitments held most dear by human beings. And you are critics, creators, free thinkers, fighters for justice, and continually self-correcting learners. These are the powers that any workplace needs, and they're also very clearly the powers that this world will need. Chancellor Block, I present to you the eloquent, cultured, thoughtful, respectful, passionately humane candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts from the Division of Humanities.
Thank you, David. Candidates, please be seated. Presenting the candidates for the bachelor's degree in the Division of Life Sciences is Dean Tracy Johnson.
Thank you, Adriana. All right. Will the candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Arts in the Division of Life Sciences rise and remain standing? You got this. All right. I would like to start by congratulating you all. You've accomplished a truly extraordinary task at an extraordinary time. I'm sure that when you started this journey, none of you predicted that this is exactly what graduation, or indeed this year, would be like. While this time has brought challenges to us all, it is also important to take stock of what the disciplines within the life sciences, which you have all explored and embraced, have accomplished in this extraordinary time. Accomplishments like research and psychology that has helped us understand and, yes, ameliorate the psychological stresses of our time. Advances in computational and systems biology that have allowed us to see the sequence of a virus to single nucleotide resolution to understand its biology. And because of fundamental studies in immunology and molecular biology, we were poised to develop and distribute in record time life-saving treatments and protective vaccines. Yes, in this last few years, disciplines in the life sciences have quite literally been at the center of addressing the most fundamental global challenges of a generation. But frankly, this isn't new. Life sciences disciplines have long been at the forefront of addressing the most fundamental and existential challenges of our time. Questions like, what is the impact of human activity on the planet? And what do we need to do to mitigate its effects? How do we prevent and cure life-threatening diseases? What is consciousness? How do we think? How do we live? How do we learn? How do we love? And how does that 3-pound organ inside our skulls affect all of this? At UCLA, we address these exciting biological questions by offering a dozen majors in the life sciences. So let's make some noise. This includes computational and systems biology, ecology, behavior, and evolution, marine biology, human biology and society, cognitive science, microbiology, immunology, and molecular genetics, molecular cell and developmental biology, physiology, neuroscience, psychobiology, biology, and psychology. As UCLA has just recently marked its first 100 years, you, our graduating Bruins, will lead us into the next 100 years as our future leaders, doctors, teachers, research scientists, therapists, entrepreneurs, and global citizens. So, Chancellor Block, it is my honor to present to you the psychologically well-adjusted, neurologically well-connected, ecologically sensitive, evolutionarily complex, immunologically resistant, molecularly sophisticated, physiologically well-integrated, computationally advanced, and absolutely amazing candidates for the bachelor's degrees in the life sciences.
Thank you, Tracy. Candidates, please be seated. Presenting the candidates for the bachelor's degree in the Division of Social Sciences is Dean Darnell Hunt.
Thank you, Adriana. Well, looks like they always save the best for last. Will the candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Science and Bachelors of Arts in the Division of Social Sciences please rise and remain standing? Graduates, you have earned this moment through the hard work, long hours, and perseverance you have shown. Each of you should be incredibly proud of what you've accomplished. Our motto in the social sciences is Engaging LA, Changing the World. And you are now positioned and expected to take what you have learned and make your mark on the world. As social scientists, you will have the opportunity to have a seat at the table to help achieve the positive changes you want to see in the world. As social scientists, you will address economic, political, and social conditions in order to create more equity and opportunity in our public and private institutions. As social scientists, you will examine the roots of social and cultural conflicts to move us towards a more just and humane society. As social scientists, you will communicate across cultures and communities, forging enduring relationships with people different from yourselves, whether from different neighborhoods, different cities, different states, or different nations. As social scientists from UCLA, you will have learned from the faculty and departments that are among the best in the world, and you will be active agents for change in the construction of a better society. All of you in the social sciences, including those in geography, aerospace, military science, and naval science, American Indian Studies, communication, labor studies, anthropology, Asian American studies, gender studies, Chicana, Chicano, and Central American studies, right, history, sociology, African American studies, political science, and last but certainly not least, economics. Okay, so you have learned to look at the world through a new lens of understanding. You have the research skills, the cultural insight, and community-oriented perspective to change the world. Today, we celebrate your achievements and the promise of a future that benefits from your leadership. You have reached this moment not despite the challenges you have faced, but because you faced those challenges with dedication, thoughtfulness, and hard work. Chancellor Block, I am honored to present to you the most socially engaged, research-savvy, service-oriented, culturally creative, interactionally skillful, intersubjectively attuned, around-the-clock inspiring and inspired, multilingual, multicultural, multi-everything you can ever think of plus more. The candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Science and Bachelors of Arts from the great, unique, awesome, breathtaking, tremendous, splendid, impressive, and superb UCLA Division of Social Sciences. Congratulations, class of 2022.
Thank you, Darnell. Please be seated. The candidates for the bachelor's degrees have now been presented. I call on Chancellor Block to confer the degrees of Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science on the class of 2022. Will all the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Arts please stand and remain standing?
Well, your deans have made a very compelling case for you. Clearly believe that you are well qualified for this degree. So candidates for the bachelor's degree, your presence here today demonstrates the rich reward of intelligence and perseverance. The UCLA community takes great pride in celebrating the achievements of the class of 2022. And more than anything, I hope your experience at UCLA has opened up some windows on the world for you and leaves you yearning to learn more. Your undergraduate experience is just the beginning of a life of continuing discovery, and the skills that you've acquired here and outside the classroom will serve you well in our rapidly changing world. And now the official word. So this has to be said properly. I have regents visiting. We have distinguished regents with us today, and if I don't say this properly, I've been pointed out, you have to come back next year. And we have absolutely no space for you. So there you go. Now, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the regents of the University of California, I hereby confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science. Congratulations.
Graduates, let me congratulate all of us on becoming the newest alumni of UCLA as the class of 2022. Now, we have one final tradition to observe. Before we received our degrees, we wore our tassels on the right side of our mortarboards. Now that our degrees have been conferred, it is time to move the tassel to the left and join the select company of UCLA graduates. Bachelors, turn your tassels!
Congratulations. To close commencement, please join in the singing of the alma mater, Hail to the Hills of Westwood, performed by Nikki Nejadral.
Hail to the hills of Westwood, to the mighty sea below. Hail to our alma mater, she will conquer every foe. For we're loyal to the Southland, her honor will uphold. We'll gladly give our hearts to thee, to the blue and to the gold.
Thank you, Nikki, for sharing your beautiful voice with us. And to all of you, thank you very much for joining us today. Best wishes to the class of 2022. Congratulations and go Bruins.
Please check around you to ensure you don't leave anything behind, and then please exit Pauley Pavilion and reunite with your graduate outside.
Commencement.